This video is about Medicare for All. I am an ardent supporter of the idea of Medicare for All or some kind of a single payer healthcare system. I would love for this to become reality sooner than later. My thought is that if it's going to happen at all, it's not going to be until later. We're not going to get it sooner. Now, there's a debate raging right now about the force the vote thing, forcing a vote on Medicare for All in the House. And I've been debating with people on this topic because I don't really see the value of forcing the vote, of having a House floor vote on Medicare for All. I don't see it accomplishing anything. And the crux of most people's argument who are debating me about why we should do it is that it's going to piss off the general public to see representatives voting against Medicare for All, and progressives can use this to generate support for Medicare for All, and somehow this is going to lead to some cataclysmic event where Medicare for All is enacted. It's a lot of fantasy. It's a lot of just, hey, just trust me on this. If we do this, it's going to lead to this, and it's going to lead to this. I don't see it that way. I don't think there's broad cultural support for Medicare for All. The people debating with me often cite this poll where it said that 88% of Democratic voters support Medicare for All. But if you look deeper into that poll, 59% of those respondents said that they didn't think they'd lose their private insurance under such a situation as Medicare for All being enacted. So this tells us that there's only kind of vague support. They generally support the gist of the idea, but they haven't really investigated, the meat and potatoes of Medicare for All being enacted. So there's not as broad cultural support for Medicare for All as a lot of progressives really seem to think. And I think this kind of delusion plays out for progressives in all kinds of areas. Look at the election with Bernie Sanders. They really believe that somehow it was a corporate media ploy that Bernie Sanders wasn't nominated, when really it's just that the culture isn't there. The Democratic voter base is a lot more conservative, let's just say, than the progressives. So the idea that if there's a House floor vote and it fails will lead to some series of events where we get Medicare for All, I think is barking up the wrong tree. I think what we need to do is work on the cultural aspect. How do we get the idea of Medicare for All, a single payer system, to be more culturally understood and accepted? We need to educate people so they understand exactly what we're talking about, and we can elucidate on the benefits of Medicare for All and a single payer system being enacted. The benefits, not just ideologically, because there's going to be already a subset of people who ideologically they see it as a good idea, maybe because it's ethically right, or they see it as pragmatic in terms of how we manage healthcare in our country. But we need to get people on the same ontological page. They need to understand how it's going to impact their day-to-day lives to have a single payer system, Medicare for All, versus the current system of having private health insurance. I think that's where progressives need to be heading, is a cultural, how do you build that cultural momentum behind Medicare for All? And I think it simply comes from more education. We need to educate people. There's all kinds of forces on the other side educating people against the idea of having a Medicare for All system. We need to go in the opposite direction. We need to educate people. We need to make it into a desirable idea, something people really can understand and that they feel that it will benefit them if we move to Medicare. We need to get this idea to be culturally pervasive. The idea that Medicare for All is a good idea. We need to go forward with it. I think that we need to stop looking so much at the dry political reality of what should be done for Medicare for All. Because, we need the House to pass it, we need the Senate to pass it, and then we need a president to ratify it. A president was just elected who's going to be president in less than a month, who campaigned vehemently against Medicare for All. I don't think progressives are understanding that the culture just isn't there yet. As much as we might want it to be, as much as we can sometimes convince our, semi-apolitical friends that, yeah, it's a good idea, the cultural momentum behind the idea just isn't there. And we need to work on that if we want to ever truly see Medicare for all passed in our lifetimes.